Stretch is an action comedy directed by Joe Carnahan and starring Patrick Wilson. I remember watching the trailer for this movie a couple of years ago and going, well, that looks interesting, you know, an action-packed, kind of dark but also funny movie. And I didn't see it for some reason up until now. And boy was I satisfied. This is definitely not a movie for everyone because it has some really weird shit going on. It's a wild ride, and that means that it starts off in a very weird way and it keeps on getting crazier and crazier and crazier to an extreme level. But it's also a very funny movie if you're into dark humor, because some of the things that happen in this movie, they aren't necessarily funny for everyone, but I loved it. The basic premise is that Patrick Wilson is a wannabe actor who is driving limousines, and one day he has to pay some debts for gambling, everything goes to shit, his girlfriend leaves him, his life is basically ruined. But there is one man, played by Chris Pine, who he has to pick up with his limousine, who is known for giving a lot of money to people as tips. So he's gonna do everything in his power to get a really big tip to pay off his debts and to keep staying alive, basically. However, Chris Pine is a very weird guy and he does some crazy shit. And you will see what happens in the movie, and there are some really interesting twists and turns, and it's not necessarily the most original plot of all, but there are some very interesting elements and the execution is really well done. The movie is excellently paced, it's also very short, it's around 90 minutes long, and there are a lot of great things that happen. And I don't want to spoil any of it. There are great celebrity cameos, the acting is pretty good in general. I'm a big fan of Patrick Wilson, and there are also some other actors. For example, there is Jessica Alba, in probably one of their best performances yet, because she's in around 15 minutes of the movie. That's great. If you have a little dose of Jessica Alba just having fun in a movie, she's good. She can be pretty good. I was actually surprised by that. And Chris Pine is amazing. You do not recognize him at first, but oh boy, he's weird and he's great. The movie has also some interesting cinematography, it's well directed, the action looks cool. It's not a violent movie, so I was actually expecting it to be quite bloody and gory, but it actually isn't. It's actually a relatively tame movie in that aspect. And for a $5 million budget movie produced by Blumhouse, it actually looks pretty good. I'm surprised that they used that little amount of money for getting also every single actor in here and for doing some really interesting things with the action sequences, especially one chase with the limousine. It's done very well, and I was not expecting it. I know that I'm being extremely vague with this movie compared to other ones, but I think that you must go into this one kind of fresh, not really knowing what is going to happen. Just knowing the basic premise, it's more than enough. Just knowing a little bit of the cast is even more than enough. And as I've already said, there are some really funny celebrity cameos, the acting is really good, the soundtrack is also very 80s-like, and this feels kind of like an action thriller of the 80s. And I was just sitting there with a big smile on my face having the time of my life. It's not necessarily a 5-star movie, so if I had to give it some stars it would be 4.5 stars. But as you can see, the enjoyment is really high with this one. I loved it. If you're into dark comedies, if you're into weird movies with some really dark humor, definitely go and watch this movie. It's a high recommendation from me. It really is, and I'm kinda sad that it wasn't released in cinemas. I think it was VOD only. Too bad. This was a really good movie. But still, guys, if you've seen Stretch, do you want to see it? Tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.